This video is brought to you by Squarespace. Recently I bought the Sigma 28-70 and it was not a very exciting purchase to say the least, but it's turning out that maybe I was all wrong. Some photos I took with it really have a special feel. There's a nice combination of contrast and a tiny bit of bloom that you seem to have noticed too. So, long story short, I got it as a replacement of the other Sigma Zoom, the 24-70, that I left on the shelf almost unused for 2 years. It was heavy and bulky, and I'm lucky to have all the freedom to use any focal length in my work, so I was never drawn to use such brick of a lens just for fun. But I don't like to have unused lenses or cameras in my inventory of gear. For me, it is money and resources that is not well invested. But still, I felt like I had to have a general purpose zoom in my kit as a do-it-all lens when traveling, and here at home in my studio to film all sorts of things. I decided to go for the Sigma 28-70 over any other option because it is the smallest and lightest constant f2.8 lens covering such a range. But yeah, I did the switch without getting any sort of spark or special motivation to shoot with the lens because it was not like a new piece of gear to me. It was more of a downgrade actually. Then from the end of the summer up until now, it was pretty busy in terms of shooting for me. I went to Mount Fuji, to Onomichi, I went on some road trips with family, all during which I used this 28-70, and I was very pleasantly surprised by the images I took with it. Even in some situations I noticed that it has almost like a special character to it that is super hard to find in modern clinical lenses, and most importantly, it seems that you guys also noticed it. Here I love the light filtering through these pillars, which are quite bright, so as you can see it's easy to create some subject separation. So ideally I would like to have only one person on in front of these pillars to have a nice clean shot. So yeah, let's wait a bit. Here I like the light coming from the right side. There's also reflections here, which makes a very dynamic frame in terms of lighting. And you see, like the reflection of the light here creates a line, and you have this patch of light here, we have the shadow here, and it creates some sort of a triangle in this section of the frame where I wanted my subject to step in, which happened after waiting a few minutes. And yeah, I think it worked pretty well. It is when you shoot against the light, a bit before sunset or after sunrise, basically when the light is angled, that most of the character of the lens stands out. I have a few example photos where you can see a very slight bloom around the brightest area of the frame, like the metallic fence on this house. Not only I like the level of bloom / halation it produces, but I'm also quite fan of the hue, the color of it. If I think about the well-known Cinestill 800T film stock with its crazy red halations, I find it cool but very overpowering, and in most situations not being a normal transition from the light they are sourcing from. Here with the Sigma lens, the halation is much closer to the source of light in terms of color, and I prefer that. Like I said, I'm very happy with some photos I took with this lens, and I could even update my portfolio to include a few of them. Portfolio which is on my website that I created and that I manage with Squarespace, the sponsor of today's video. Squarespace is an easy-to-use all-in-one website platform that makes it simple to create a beautiful website, connect with your audience, and sell anything from physical to digital goods all in one place. At the start of the year, I decided to move my website and consolidate everything on Squarespace. It's a decision I'm very happy with today, mainly because it is so easy to manage. I now have a beautiful store, a clean portfolio, and an organized blog all on my personal website. The hardest part of moving to Squarespace was making the decision to do it, because despite having no coding or web design knowledge, building my website from scratch was incredibly easy, smooth, and even enjoyable. Starting from a blank canvas can be tricky, but with Squarespace high-quality templates, you can begin designing your website on a solid foundation, customize it as you like, and have it ready to launch in just a few hours. My online business is a crucial part of my activity, so having a platform that runs smoothly, delivers my digital digital products efficiently and offers a variety of payment solutions is essential. Squarespace is the perfect solution for both growing and established online businesses, and my experience with it has been a breeze. I highly recommend trying it out for yourself. Head to squarespace.com for a 14 days free trial, and when you're ready to launch your website, go to squarespace.com/Adrian to save 10% off of your first purchase of a website or domain. Thank you Squarespace for the support, I really appreciate it, and now let's get back to talking about this lens. I have experience with some diffusion filter not so long ago, and I find them too intense. Even the 1/8 version, I really find that the photos really shout like I have been shot with a diffusion filter. Here with this lens it's a lot more subtle, I find. Subtle but noticeable, because as I said before, many of you commented on photos I took with this lens asking what kind of filter I used, and the answer is none. I know some filters are better than the others, but in general I find that the shadows and the dark areas get washed out when using them. You are getting a cool effect in the highlights, but you're losing so much of contrast in the shadows, giving you less dynamism in the photos. This Sigma lens produces just the right amount of character in the highlights to my taste, while keeping all the contrast and the nice tonality in the darker areas of the frame. To sell this effect even more, I always bring down the clarity in post-production. I don't want to overcook it, so anywhere between -10 and -20 gives you good results without looking too artificial or noticeable in a bad way. I wish someone could walk here, but it's early in the morning. Been waiting here for 5 minutes already. No one seems to be willing to come, so I think I will get the shot without anyone. So what I have to do here to achieve good subject separation is bringing up my camera a little bit. Doing so, you see that the subject is getting surrounded by these brighter area in the river, creating better subject separation, which leads to a better photo. Unfortunately, it's not all pink and beautiful. There are also limits to this lens, and I found that the flare is not too pleasant. If you have the sun in your frame hitting straight into the glass, you're likely to end up with some noticeable green flare somewhere in your photo. It is quite small luckily, but it is present, and depending on where it is located, it can be hard to remove it if it's something that you want to do. I also really like the photos I took with this lens when the sun was higher in the sky. You get really nice mid-tones and highlights, almost like an airy feeling, while maintaining a very nice amount of clarity and micro contrast all over the frame. I have become more and more happy to shoot and edit some broad daylight photos in recent years, and I think that I like it even more with this Sigma 28-70 lens. Otherwise, it is a very competent all-purpose zoom. I have absolutely no complaints so far. I think it is not completely weather sealed, but at least it has a rubber gasket to protect the camera sensor, and I did a bit of rainy shooting and it was all fine. I was just careful to make it dry quickly once back home without moving the zoom and the focus ring too much. Here I really like all these perpendicular lines and shapes. I decided to put this part of the building and use it to cover most of my frame, and keep a section here where I waited for someone to walk towards the entrance there, I guess. And yeah, I think it works well. We have a nice and pretty small silhouette in the shot to add a little human touch in the frame. I really don't know the reason for it, but you can see all these cars are exactly identical. The same Mazda model, all in white. Pretty interesting stuff. I don't know, maybe I'm delusional and this lens is very normal, but I really think that there is something to it. More often than not, whether it's a camera, a lens or a film stock, really expressing why we enjoy the feel of them can be hard, so I hope I could transmit my thoughts as best as possible. If at the moment you're looking for a general purpose zoom lens and you're okay without the 24mm on the wide end, I highly recommend this one. Or you could be like me, hesitant to downgrade to a 28-70 from 24-70, and in this case too, I can only support you to do the switch. So thanks for watching, I hope to see you next time. I'm done for today, so goodbye.